What up, though? It's your boy Tone. This is Beer Snob University. Today, I want to talk about kind of the evolution of craft beer, where we were, where we are, and where we're headed. In the 80s, 90s, there was already a subculture of people out there that was not satisfied with what big beer was bringing us. This was during a time frame where some of us weren't even born. If we were born, we weren't of drinking age. If we were of drinking age, we didn't care. We didn't care. We were just drinking whatever we saw in the commercials because that's what was cool. But this subculture, they created a movement and they started creating microbrews and microbreweries. Remember that term? Microbreweries. The Beer Association needed a way to separate the microbrews from the macro guys, the mass producing guys. So at the time, the definition was to be a microbrewer, you had to be small, you had to be independent, you had to be traditional. Small meant you produced fewer than 15,000 US barrels annually. Independent meant that you were no more than 25% owned or controlled by an alcohol industry member that wasn't already a craft beer, or that wasn't a craft brewer. Traditional meant that basically half their product had to be brewed traditionally using all malt, not adjunct grains like rice, corn, like some of the big guys. So again, this was during that time. Breweries were small and they needed that separation, you know. But then something happened. Early 2000s, breweries are popping up everywhere. They're popping up everywhere. Now there's a bigger subculture of people that are frequenting these places. Larger subculture of people that's not satisfied with what big beer is bringing us. Probably about 4,000 breweries at the time, which breaks down to about 80 per state. You know, some of these breweries are producing massive amounts of beer. They're over that 15,000 US barrels annually mark. So it kind of pushed the Brewers Association to, yet again, figure out how to separate. They increased small to 2 million. So now small meant you produce fewer than 2 million US barrels annually. We go on, this is the craft beer era. Something else happened. The big guys started looking at this little segment and it was like, man, they're doing their thing. They're making a killing. If you can't beat them, join them. So they started buying up breweries. What that has done is muddled the field. It's confusing the beer drinking public, because now when we know that we're not going to drink A, B, and C, we go to the store and we grab this. This is a craft beer. We grab that Elysian. We grab that Goose Island because, yeah, this is craft beer. But it's not. It's not. Big beer is buying up craft beer companies. So now, here we are again, where the Brewers Association has to figure out how to separate us. Oh, and by the way, come 2010, they had to increase the number again to define small. Increased it to fewer than 6 million US barrels. So that lets you know this thing is growing, you know, and these companies are they're putting it out. The thing about it is, do we really care? Do we really care that a craft brewery is independent or not? So that's where we are now. Independent craft brewing. To the point where, yet again, Brewers Association, I think it was last year, they created this little seal, like a little certified seal. It's an upside down bottle. Next time you're buying a beer, check it out, you'll see it. As a matter of fact, that's what it looks like right there. It says Brewers Association along the side, and then it says certified independent craft. So this is what brewers and breweries are now putting on their storefronts. This is what they're putting on their bottles and cans. So that's a good thing, should be a good thing. but do we really care? You know? So 3 questions to wrap this all up. 3 questions. Is it fair to ask the beer drinking public to care? Is it fair to ask them to make informed beer purchases? Is it fair to ask them to go into a store and before they make a purchase, they gotta look it up on their phone, like who owns blah, blah, blah? Is that fair? Number 2, is it fair to ask all independent brewers to put that little seal on their containers? Is it fair? And if they don't do it, do we hate on them? You know, suppose they put a lot into their artwork, you know, and there's a lot of stuff that has to go on the cans anyway, and suppose they don't have room for it, but they're still independent. Is it fair to make them do it just so they can make that claim and just so we can readily identify that it's a craft brewer? Is it fair? Next thing, and I didn't even talk about this, but there are some breweries that are 30% owned by big beer. Remember, independent means you can't be more than 25% owned. But there are some that are 30. Man, do we not support them? Do we treat them like we treat, say, Ballast Point, Lagunitas? Which, by the way, I still support Lagunitas. So that's it. I still care. But I'm still going to educate myself. I'm still going to make the most informed choices that I can make. What about you? Talk to me in the comments. Please, please, please talk to me in the comments. What do you think? What do you think? As always, say no to ordinary beer. Support your local brewer. And drink independent beer. Cheers.